All signs are pointing to this for the Phoenix Suns, and that is a Kevin Durant trade is imminent coming this off season, as the Suns will look to move off of his contract before the NBA draft to help get some draft lottery capital back, but not only just that, to figure out their identity and situation before hitting into free agency and other big time plans. It looks like Durant's domino to fall will be the first one for Phoenix, and what will Brian Gregory be able to do in that? We're going to get into all of that and more on this episode of Suns Digest. I am Bruce Velez, and you guys have been fantastic, showing your love and support with the amount of news with Jordan Ott getting hired, the Suns now being interested in making moves, rumors around Durant, Beal, all of that jazz. There's going to be so much news revolving around this Suns team coming for you guys. So if you want to make sure you stay up to date on everything, make sure to continue. Hit the subscribe button. As 65% of you guys who watch these daily videos are not subscribed if you want to stay up to date on everything. Like I mentioned, we have live streams every single week, daily videos, even sometimes multiple videos a day talking about the Phoenix Suns. So if you want to stay in tap on everything, this is definitely the place for you. Without further ado, though, let's get into the video at hand today. Make sure to grab that snack, and let's talk about the Phoenix Suns. As it's starting to heat up with some news regarding this franchise and who they are looking to trade. And we all know from John Gambadoro, if you missed the previous videos, we've talked about it here on Suns Digest multiple times, but they're now going to start looking to move Kevin Durant in a deal, right? The two sides have obviously had these discussions at the trade deadline last offseason. They were nipped by Kevin Durant and his representatives because he didn't want to be traded mid-season. And now this offseason, Kevin Durant will look to part with Phoenix and not getting the best offer in return, but ultimately looking to figure out his best avenue for winning a championship or what he wants to do living in a certain city. And with that being said, there has been a team that could show some interest for Durant, but ultimately in my position, I think is nowhere going to be near landing a player in Kevin Durant, as the Toronto Raptors are a potential landing spot for Durant, courtesy of Jake Fisher. Toronto has likewise been painted by numerous NBA figures as a potential trade suitor for Durant, particularly if Giannis Antetokounmpo doesn't reach the open market. The Raptors, furthermore, would figure out to have more of a realistic shot at assembling a competitive trade offer for Durant compared to the mammoth offer that the Bucks would inevitably seek for Giannis Antetokounmpo's services. So once again, we all know with Toronto, they're on this hunt for this big star, right? They were on this hunt a couple seasons ago when they traded away DeMar DeRozan, brought in Kawhi Leonard, and won an NBA championship. But as you can see with all of that, there are big red flags. Number one, Kawhi went there, and then what did he do? He left because he didn't want to be in Toronto, which is another thing known by all these superstars. Unless they're born in Canada or Canadian, they don't want to play in Toronto. They don't want to dealing with going through customs every single time that they have to leave the country. They don't want to have to deal with living in a different country or state than their family and friends and having them to have to go through all that mess. And ultimately, living in a different country, even though it is just right above and it's Canada, they're very similar, is a little bit unorthodox, specifically for a player like Kevin Durant. Ultimately, in my opinion, I do not see them getting Kevin Durant, even if they fail to get Giannis Antetokounmpo, because once again, yes, they're interested in these wings, they're interested in these guys, but who's to say that Kevin Durant wants to go to Toronto? And we all know that the Suns obviously are going to try to get the best package they can get for Durant, but there's a middling ground here, right? They want to make sure that Kevin Durant is going to go to a franchise that he's going to respect, want to play on. They're going to respect his wishes. So they're not just going to be like, Toronto gave us the best package offer, so we have to send him there. No, that's not going to happen. And furthermore, that makes me understand and kind of grasp that Durant is not going to be going to the Raptors. Maybe Giannis could go. Obviously, with Masai Ujiri having some connections with African basketball, the Basketball Association in Africa, obviously developing that game. Giannis Antetokounmpo wanting to do that as well, has that similar connection. I know Greece is also very, there are a lot of Greek people in Canada, and it's very popular as well. But I don't see them landing Kevin Durant. Maybe Giannis Antetokounmpo. Yes, they do have the package that could land Kevin Durant, and the deal, would center around RJ Barrett and Jakob Poeltl, but that's, I feel like, not worth Toronto giving up for Durant. And ultimately, I also do feel like, once again, Durant's not going to want to go to Toronto. So it's just something stupid to be talking about. But yes, Durant potentially to Toronto as a team keeping an eye on him, but I don't see it happening. Next, diving in, looking at this team that makes perfect sense in my opinion. This one makes a little bit more sense when we're looking at Kevin Durant. This team is the San Antonio Spurs. We've talked about them multiple times here. I even wrote articles how I think they are the best team for a Kevin Durant trade, for all the facts that the Suns can get back wings. They can get back draft capital. But not only just that, they can ensure Kevin Durant can go to a team where he can help win now, but also win for the future. alongside guys like De'Aaron Fox and Victor Wembanyama. It would be a great trio for the San Antonio Spurs. And also, the Spurs don't have to gut their entire roster or all their salary cap, similar to a team like Toronto, to make that big move for a Giannis Antetokounmpo. They can just kind of trade guys like Devin Vassell, Harrison Barnes, and the 14th pick, even a little bit more on a salary filler or a contract-wise to get Kevin Durant. And that's why I think this is kind of a good party for both sides. Gambo reported that Kevin Durant reportedly told someone he trusts that he thinks he's going to end up with the Spurs. Now, we don't know for certain if that is going to be the case, but I would love to see Kevin Durant go over there and play. Like we mentioned with Durant, $51 million this season, $54 million next season. That is why the Suns have to kind of forcefully trade him away. They're forced into these second apron restrictions of being in the luxury tax and having to stay here. And once again, penalties ensue if you're in the luxury tax for multiple seasons. Having an untradeable contract in Bradley Beal and being the most expensive roster while failing to make the playoffs is all reasons why you should be looking for change. You should be looking for a new identity, new culture, and that's what Phoenix is looking to do. By trading away like a guy like Kevin Durant, you ultimately get into that aspect, get to really identify what you can bring to this new team and figure out what can go alongside Devin Booker to really sophistically work for the Phoenix Suns in this new culture, new identity. Once again, Kevin Durant, I wish him nothing but the best of luck. In all these previous trade videos, I have said this multiple times, that it's not Kevin Durant's fault. It's not any Bradley Beal's fault even. It's the front office, the Washington Wizards, feeling stupid and having to give Bradley Beal that big contract so he doesn't leave. And then it's Phoenix's front office's fault for trading for that albatross of a contract. That is where my discrepancy goes with. For Phoenix, they tried to get out of that mess by trading away a guy in Kevin Durant, which he ultimately was like, well, this is not happening. And now I understand why Kevin Durant wants to be out of Phoenix. If your employer or your company went to fire you midway through your tenure or try to transfer you to another branch with you not even knowing, how would you feel about all of that? Exactly. That's how you have to view these things. Kevin Durant is a human, and I understand basketball is a business world and a lot more of a business world than many of us work in the business, but he's human. We're all people at the end of the day. You have to respect Kevin Durant. You have to respect his wishes, and that's what the Phoenix Suns are going to do. They're not going to go, oh yeah, you're going to Toronto so we can get RJ and Jakob Poeltl, even if that's the best offer the Suns can ultimately get, because what's Durant going to do in Toronto? Not play and then leave, similar to what Kawhi Leonard did, or play for a season and then ultimately leave. It's not a win-win scenario for the Raptors. The Raptors are big star game hunting. They're not going to get any of these big stars, and even if they do, they're not going to be able to get them to stay. You went and got your Brandon Ingram. That's your type of level of guys that you can go out and get on the trade market. Stick to those guys, Toronto. Stop feeling like you need to go grab Kevin Durant and really swing him over, because number one, he doesn't want to go to Toronto, and you need to get that across your head. Anyways, thank you guys so much for tuning into this episode where we looked at some options for Kevin Durant and for the Phoenix Suns. Like I mentioned, I think a team like San Antonio, maybe even Houston, Minnesota, maybe even Miami make more sense than a team in Toronto. But let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. Like I said, it's up to Kevin Durant, it's up to the Phoenix Suns, and when they decide on a deal on who gets moved, we'll have all the news breaking for you down here on Suns Digest, going over the package, going over everything. So once again, if you do enjoy the content, let us know your thoughts down below and hit the subscribe button. But I'll catch you guys in the next one. Have a great rest of your day, and go Phoenix Suns. Peace out.